What better way to learn how indicators can be used with Fibonacci tools than seeing real chart examples? For this first example, starting with the long-term context, price is leaning back towards a bullish to neutral posture. In the short to medium-term context, this is turning out to be a bullish to neutral phase as well. Placing a Fibonacci retracement on the price range of the previous downtrend quickly and conveniently highlights relevant support and resistance levels as price returns to previous highs. As expected, price does get resisted, but since it only retraces only one fib level when it retreats from 200 in the start of the last major downtrend, it is a good display of how an old resistance range is reversing roles to become key support during a bullish continuation. Bullish momentum is moderate to strong since price does not immediately fall into the gap. Then it's also not unusual that this bullish momentum would still face resistance around the low 220s at that first major extension level at the 1.618 fib level. Meanwhile, these various placements of the Fibonacci time zone during the more neutral to bullish periods runs time zone lines through many key swing points and the areas where price contacts intersections of time zone lines, and that first 1.618 fib extension level helps highlight the approximate price and time range when resistance could be stronger to oppose continued bullish momentum after the gap up. Using Bollinger Bands also helps outline how price was overextended shortly after the gap up, with trading briefly over the upper Bollinger Band, followed by a smooth transition with a reversion to the mean and eventual crossing and contact into the lower half, with trading towards the lower Bollinger Band. Then as price slides below the 220 boundary towards filling in the gap, it's quite clear during this return to the lower half of the Bollinger Band that there's also a potential double top range for increased bearish context. Given these developments, it would be useful to place a new Fibonacci retracement from that previous low to the current high of what could be the end of an uptrend. Likewise, we could update the Fibonacci time zone and place it on the first half of the double top range, which is valid enough with the 3 time zone line running very close to the high of the recent downswing. When getting to the 5 time zone line that intersects with the red 0.236 fib retracement level, there is, of course, a major event, and in this case it is a bearish continuation, which is starting to complete the double top reversal range and starting to fill in the gap up. When this happens, price is, of course, heavily bearish, as further demonstrated by trading along the lower Bollinger Band again. Also, it was possible to see earlier bearish indications using the more responsive ALMA indicator as soon as price began trading and closing below it. And for further confirmation during the period just before the gap fill, the ALMA crossed under the center line of the Bollinger Bands, which also happens to be a 20-day moving average, a very common setting as well. Even though this chart is leaning more bearish, the defined drop will still naturally slow down after dropping 2 fib levels, especially when nearing key support at the gap fill and round 200 price level. So even if price is promptly bouncing off fib retracement levels and closing above the ALMA towards the 20-day moving average and center line of the Bollinger Band, these are proving to be more like minor retracements instead of serious reversals. Price then trades and contacts an intersection of a fib time zone line and retracement level where another major event is likely. In this case, instead of a bullish retracement evolving into a major bullish reversal, it is yet another minor downswing that initiates a moderate bearish continuation to keep the drop going past the temporarily stronger support offered by the 200 level and the gap fill area. Even though selling volume isn't exceedingly high, there are still consistently more red candles, and selling volume is still at average levels. More telling of this bearish consistency is the fact that ALMA and price keep closing well under the 20-day moving average and the center line of the Bollinger Bands. As price enters the 180s, we do see more neutral to bullish development, and price and the ALMA indicator even go into the upper half of the Bollinger Bands, but they remain relatively flat, and again promptly form downswings near the 200 boundary, which now becomes key resistance. And overall price remains relatively flat with a slight decline, even before it rushes back down to the lower half of the Bollinger Band. Eventually, the chart goes more volatile, with some relatively large candles. But overall, especially with the ALMA and price firmly in the lower half of the Bollinger Bands, the downtrend is still in full force, even though there's contact with the lower retracement levels. However, It is still interesting and less common here that the 21 time zone line is contacted, and in this context, price noticeably slows down, even though there's still a clear bearish advantage. So only time will tell, but this could be a transition to more neutral or even bullish movement, similar to previous periods. Next, let's remove a lot of clutter and just use one single indicator that shows similar information with the Chande Kroll stop. In simple terms, more directional movement, either with reversals or continuations, does happen near those points when the two lines of the indicator converge, then diverge. And when they are closer together and relatively parallel, it is often a clearer indication of more indecisive movement. And when the lines are further apart, it often doesn't last for long, but does often highlight a period where there's strong directional price movement, which is often when price moves at least 2 fib levels in a relatively short amount of time within the span of one time zone interval or less. And if you want to learn more about any of the Fibonacci tools or indicators used here, or in other chart examples, please check out the link in the description and pinned comment. Now let's take a more minimalist approach and see what we can learn about this next chart, which has rebounded from clear support again, with price roaring back to clear resistance in the mid to upper 50s. As expected, price promptly slows, but there's a minor delay in flattening towards a downswing, especially since selling volume is well below average levels. This kind of behavior continues, and volatility even increases with some larger candles, but volume remains well below average. And this is reflected with the accumulation distribution indicator maintaining a shallow pronounced decline ever since price entered the resistance area and started forming those more neutral to bearish candles. Using the less common Fibonacci spiral tool further highlights this more neutral to bearish transition at a more gradual pace before a pronounced acceleration lower. Similar to the steepening AD indicator that shows the progressing price drop is sustained by the red volume spike and overall bearish consistency, with overwhelmingly more red than green days recently, which partially makes up for having lower selling volume for most of this downswing. Let's continue to an example with a noticeable halt to an established downtrend. There's a moderate bullish retracement, and we could draw horizontal price ranges or place a Fibonacci retracement on the range of the recent bounce. But whatever you do, it's quite obvious that the recent downswing near the 100 boundary is marking an area of relevant resistance as price returns towards a neutral to slightly bullish posture. What's more interesting here is the use of a Fibonacci time zone that's placed on that first downswing after the recent peak of the moderate bullish retracement. What we want to do here is confirm if those places where price contacts intersections of horizontal levels with time zone lines are where more significant events like a bearish reversal could occur. In this case, the accumulation distribution indicator promptly confirms the bearish importance of this area, on top of the fact that price immediately closed lower with a slight increase in selling volume. Essentially, the sharp peak of both the indicator and price confirm the bearish strength at this location in price and time, which proves to be a major bearish development in the bigger picture that initiates the drop towards a further continuation of the established downtrend. Later, a similar situation can be seen, except it's more of a minor bearish retracement, but still the intersection between the fib level and the time zone line matches the approximate price and time where there's that sharper peak of the accumulation distribution indicator. On to another case that begins with price returning back to an area of obvious resistance, in this case at previous highs. As price reaches that boundary around 80, it maintains a moderate incline, whereas the accumulation distribution indicator stays relatively flat to demonstrate a divergence. So it's not too surprising that later on, in addition to returning back to clear resistance, there are more bearish candles and a slight increase in selling volume, at which point there is a prompt resync of price and the AD indicator going back in the same direction. It's a decisive drop, but one that is short-lived, and when price rebounds to continue the larger uptrend, the indicator swiftly rises as well to confirm the return of strong bullish momentum. It is a slightly more volatile period, with more gaps and larger candles, but overall, some decent bullish retracements before the continuation to higher highs. But later, when price goes a bit higher, volatility increases even more, as price remains relatively unchanged for several weeks in July, while the AD indicator remains quite choppy, yet it presents a slight decline to form a slight divergence from the way price is moving. Since the proportions are a bit wider between the fib levels, we can tick those less common first two extension levels to get more detailed coverage of recent downswings. Then, as expected, like previous examples, placing a fib time zone based on the duration of upswings and downswings near the breakout and continuation area, we can get some time zone lines intersecting with those first two extension levels at some important points that are quite close to being exactly at the price and time where those volatile downswings recently formed. Then applying the Chande Kroll stop, we see those periods of more directional and stronger movement were when the lines were further apart, and the areas of indecisive movement where reversals were more likely to begin were when the lines were closer together. Another feature to keep in mind is that often when price was overextended by moving at least 3 fib levels, it ended up being above or below both lines of the indicator. And when that happened, reversals were more likely. It's the same idea as when price is nearing the bounds of the Bollinger Band. Then we can see how useful that ALMA indicator is in more quickly confirming smaller bullish and bearish movements with retracements and moderate reversals, since price often crossed above and below it more promptly in comparison to the regular moving average. That is more laggy. Speaking of the moving average, we could place that 20-period moving average, which is longer than the 9-period setting for the ALMA, to get that element of the moving average crossover in a quicker and more short-term context. But still, this method ends up being mostly confined to more moderate to large reversals, as opposed to more volatile and sharper short-term price fluctuations where it is less useful or can present mixed signals. To learn more about the disadvantages and advantages of all these indicators and Fibonacci tools, please check out the detailed videos about them in the description and pin the comment.